know, I would really like either one of these players to win. I'm very unbiased in this matchup, realistically.
Yeah, and certainly it is the new versus the old, right? DFCLOVER's looking to make a splash. Can he do it? We shall see. We shall see. I'm just interested to see if DFCLOVER makes it far. That kind of extends his expertise into different formats.
Well, in my mind,
makes him one of the more well-rounded players.
The well-rounded term is exactly where I put DFCLOVER. If he can prove himself in rotation, we know he's like, you know, crusher god at like take two. Like he will blow you up at take two. So if he can get past some rotation rounds and then just win all of his rotation rounds, like say he does make it to the World Grand Prix, that puts him in really good position to make day two and then win the whole thing. Like it's good stuff.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people out there are like, Take Two's not really competitive. DFCLOVER's like, oh, it is, and I will beat you at it.
He did some very good things in Take Two. Again, reanimate Shadow up to bat. 2 games where he's had a tough time of it.
This seems to be the one deck that is his kind of like linchpin, right? He's got 2 aggressive lineups, and then he's got a very slow lineup in his, or not lineup, but slow deck in his
interesting to think.
reanimate deck.
I mean, I almost feel like if he had tapped into Fantasy's brain and just played Vengeance Blood or something like that, maybe that would have worked out better for him.
Yeah, I think so. I think if Vengeance Blood was here instead of Reanimate Shadow, I think his lineup would make a lot more sense. Because if you think about it, he had an aggro lineup, but then if you ban half of it, it's not an aggro lineup anymore. It's an aggro and a control deck.
Basically holds him to having to win with Reanimate Shadow, which is a late game oriented deck, which ruins the entire aggro strategy.
Right, and so far as we can see, it has not been beating the regular Shadow decks, which is interesting to me because in my mind, I would think that the Reanimate Shadow would have a small edge because of the whole Zeus thing, but
it comes down to, it feels like it's really coming down to DFCLOVER finding the right tools at the right time. I think that he has all the right tools in the deck. It's just when you race that consistency fight, can you win against mid-shadow most of the time where it has multiple things like Pure-Hearted plus the Demon Eaters plus the Andrew Alphas?
Right. Just a lot more card draw. Gloomy Necromancer, of course, trying to do its best impression of all the other card draw cards, but it works well with Reanimate. It doesn't work well as just a standalone threat that you're putting into play more often than not because it loses to all these 1/1s in combat.
More eating.
There it is. Demon Eater is going to be evolved to try to gain some kind of board presence.
And I feel like he really wants to play that Gloomy Necromancer, but he also really doesn't because it does not net him that much advantage.
Another thing to talk about is how seemingly difficult it is for DFCLOVER to make use out of Lurching Corpse.
Yeah.
Now, he does have the Necro Assassin, so at least it means if he wants to play it all in one turn, there is a Necro Assassin Lurching Corpse combo. Or he can just play the Lurching Corpse this turn, and then on the next turn play the Necro Assassin if he needs.
Right.
One of the other things that I'm noticing, and it really kind of, it's been big in the last 2 games, I think both DVA and CRUMSION have shown, that is goblins, right? So 1 play point drop. There were some decks that weren't taking 1 play point drops, and I feel like it's really affected the pace of the game, right? In this case, CRUMSION was able to do something like on turn 3, Zombie Party plus the Goblin, which gave a lot more tempo over to CRUMSION.
I don't think you should ever forgo Goblin. I mean, it's the 1/1 drop in the deck. It allows you to tempo. You're playing Prince Catacomb. It gets more value the more followers you have in play. There's literally no reason to not be playing a 1-drop in Shadow. Of course, it doesn't give you that extra Shadow, as Skull Beast used to do, but it still does half the work. You know what I mean? It's still perfectly fine in the deck.
Yeah. Skull Beast was the thing.
It just allows you to do this mid-game push thing that we've been seeing, you know, players like CRUMSION do, where they can get ahead early and not solely rely on card draw and Aishas and things in the late game.
Yeah. It's paying off for him.
These Fall from Graces have been so dead in every player's hand all day. It is crazy.
It's funny, too, think about it. I mean, you would imagine they would be good against White Wolf.
Yeah, but there's just not a lot of opportunities. But again, even then, you have to have it in your hand when they play it. You know what I mean? It's one of those things, like, yeah, I don't know. It's crazy to me. Like, I know why they're playing it, because they expected a lot of Dragon, but I think they all just kind of fooled themselves. Now, the true answer would have been to not play any Fall from Graces and just know people weren't playing Dragon today, right? That's like perfect read.
Yeah. Yeah, Fall from Grace for any additional application. It is kind of cool because you get the rush off of it, so you can kind of swing twice, but It just does so little damage.
And other decks that it's good against are like decks you're trying to race, like aggro decks and stuff like that, but there's hardly any aggro decks today. It's only in DFCLOVER's deck. And the fact that we see some aggro lists. So, but he's also a player that is running Fall from Grace. So it's just interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
And we see good turns lining up for him here. He's not so far behind now. He's got O-Dials. He's got Kawi.
Yeah. It's really about how he can kind of maintain his health and not just get taken down once it hits turn 10.
And CRUMSION does not have the mid-game push options that he would like here. He does have a Prince Catacomb, which I think he probably will implement this turn alongside of something else like a Lyriel. I think what CRUMSION's really deciding is what's more important to him, getting that 4 damage face or trading off a lower defense follower to put other followers into play that have more defense. You know what I mean? Like, does that 4 damage matter? Because, like, it's, do I trade the Belenus in? Do I evolve a Lyriel and trade that in and leave the 1 defense follower in play? It's kind of a weird trade to do.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and considering kind of the options that are going to be played from DFCLOVER's side,
What are you hiding inside?
I feel like it's cause for thinking just a little bit more deeply about what you would do compared to looks like you will go for the trade.
Now, unfortunately, this can still get wiped out by O-Dial, but the Prince Catacomb will help with that. So it's not a full board wipe here. But CRUMSION doesn't have anything to punish this with.
Don't let the light blind you.
Suppose embrace me.
Dang. 3 Musketeers.
That's right. Back from the dead. Oh my goodness. What were all their names again?
I don't know. I actually don't know what each of their individual names are.
There was Porthos, Artemis, I want to say. There was like an Athos.
Athos?
There's D'Artagnan, but he's the 4th Musketeer.
He's like the special one.
Yeah, Aramis? That doesn't sound right. That's what my tech guys are saying. They're probably right.
Good enough?
They're never right.
They're probably looking it up on the computer.
Computer's wrong.
But yeah, D'Artagnan was always my favorite because he wasn't supposed to be there, but then he's just like, I'm a Musketeer. And they're like, fine. We need help.
Now we need to call ourselves the 4 Musketeers.
Right. We
3
already branded
Musketeers
as the 3 Musketeers.
Yeah. You know how expensive it is to rebrand?
Right.
Gosh.
That's what Lurching Corpse is. He's like, yo, what's up, buddies? They're like, no.
No, you're not.
No, we're Skellies. You're a zombie. Okay?
Yeah. Come on, man.
Come
Get
on,
with
man.
the program.
To the bone.
You're
Lyriel's
cool
way
too,
too cute
just
for this
not
party,
cool
too.
like us.
Yeah.
Feeling hungry?
Evolve face.
If you really think about the squad that's beating you up with Shadowcraft, it's really weird. Skeletons, zombies, cute little girls, goblins.
Yeah, it's very diverse.
In
You
the
know,
real. What's O-Dial? O-Dial's like a queen type thing, right? Like
yeah. Oh, this is. Ugh, this sucks.
And what is Andriolphus? Is
Don't let the
Andriolphus a
light
zombie?
blind you.
I think a zombie peacock.
Zombie peacock. Yeah, that's a real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, play the other skull ring just for kicks.
And CRUMSION out of cards.
Yeah.
This is every time we see Shadow lose, this is the same reason. Just not enough card draw.
Yeah. I mean, CRUMSION is living off the top, right? Still very able to be defeated. Kawi is going to put a stop to a lot of it.
Yep. And yeah, getting around the Kawi is going to be super hard because the Aisha play is still live in a few turns, but Kawi, like you said, can't stop that. There's no way to get it off the board just yet. And in any scenario, we'll put him back above 10.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no way to do this. If you want to get rid of the Kawi, you have to Necro Assassin and just let the 3 health happen.
Yeah, I think you probably pop the Andriolphus. You need to get that card draw going. Hopefully even get something like that back off of the Skull Ring so you can draw more cards.
CRUMSION thinking carefully. And yeah, I think he's definitely going to go for the card draw play.
What is Cerberus? Is that a demon?
Cerberus is supposedly a demon, yes. Or are you talking about in the Cygames universe, or are you talking about just like...
Yeah.
in the side games universe, I think Cerberus is just a demon.
Yeah, I mean, she's like the cute version of the three-headed dog, except she's the other head, right?
Yeah.
And then she's got the two little, like, puppies
I believe
on
so.
her arms.
My understanding, I mean, I don't have such a good filter for you know, the nuances of anime. But that is my understanding, is that the three heads are the two hand puppets and herself.
Yeah, she's a fake Cerberus, is what she is.
Yeah.
Anime.
Okay.
Anime. We just solved it. It's all fake. All anime is fake.
Everything, nothing is real.
All right, so DFCLOVER just keeping the board clean, building up to an end game here, looking pretty nice.
I would zombie party that skeleton.
Why not?
I would
wouldn't
zombie
either.
party that skeleton. There is a lot of torment that could happen in this next.
Rebels works us to the bone.
Okay.
Not bad.
This song's for you.
Pure-Hearted Singer gives a couple card draw options. Ooh, nice. Okay.
Okay.
And there's still no lethal setup for DFCLOVER here. Can only put CRUMSION to 11, which is not enough for Aisha to finish.
Mm-hmm. I guess I would just keep drawing.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see any reason why not to. Even if you start with the Demon Eater, you can still play the Necro Assassin if you really want to.
Should act like food. Did you like it?
Oh.
Not bad.
What are you
That was
hiding
not
inside?
bad at all.
This is. Oh God.
This is guaranteed lethal setup over 2 turns. Win
Yep.
one way or another.
Where are the Zeusai?
Serious, though. This is Reanimate Shadow. Where does Zeus at? Where does Zeus at? Where did Reanimate
1, 2,
at?
3,
It's all these
4.
Fall from Graces, man.
Yeah.
All these tech cards.
There's not enough shadows to go for lethal, and Aisha only does 10.
Oh, well, there's the Reanimate card.
I think that's gonna bring back Kawi. Is that right?
Ooh, okay. But is that good enough? So Kawi would get eaten up by the 5 in play, unless something was traded into.
Yeah, you can trade
Yeah.
forward. So Ector is probably gonna have to come down, or the Aisha, which is
double
all gonna-
Kawi would be
Oh,
insane.
God.
Judgment for heretics like
That's
you.
that's
God.
really good.
Oh.
Okay. All right.
And Seesaw. Hey, remember
Yeah.
the advantage bar?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It was like
He's on
99% in
control.
CRUMSION's favor, and then with those few top decks right there, it's just like never mind. Never mind.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, you're gonna need to play something alongside that. You can't even break through a single one of the Kawi shields. And even if you Demon Eater, that's only getting past maybe one of them.
It's not good enough. He's gonna have to figure out some way to pop the Prince Catacomb and use the Ektar to clear these Kawis away.
Man, So Death Reap Life has been so good for DFCLOVER.
Yeah. That was an incredible, couple of top decks at
Yeah.
the end there. Yeah. Much needed. Now, if the 3/3 in the form of the Necro Assassin is not cleared alongside of these Kawis, then Aisha is a lethal setup next turn. So this entire board needs to be cleared.
Yeah, and even if you do that, you are resetting the game.
Yeah, there's just no way. There's no way.
Okay, Journey of 1,000 Miles begins with a single step for CRUMSION.
I like that.
That is one large step.
Oh, actually, you know what? It's definitely doable. Definitely doable. You run both of
the catacomb.
Yeah.
The bones embrace
You run both
me.
of these in, then you Ektar.
His head can
Thing is, the Ector just gets eaten up. You know what I mean?
I mean, the Ektar has to be getting, it has to be. It's unfortunate.
I'm taking you with me.
And then another three.
I'm
Oh my
taking
God.
you
Yeah,
with
but
me.
he does clear the whole board.
Yeah.
Quiet.
Okay.
There's a
yes,
Zeus.
he had to show up at some point.
Yep, that is true.
You still have the Necro Assassin. Is there any other reanimates?
Back to 22. How good.
The god of all.
I don't think it matters at this point. I'm pretty sure just this Kawi, not this Kawi, but this Zeus alone is enough to set up for Aisha.
Yep, and there are no wards or healing in this other traditional version of Mid Shadow. And it happened. Didn't have the options. Didn't have the Aisha in time. And DFCLOVER just barely drew into it, but that was off the back of already installed card draw, right? It's just so important in this matchup. And it's probably going to this kind of card draw state is probably going to expand to a lot of other crafts as the game gets slower and slower and slower.
Yep. So DFCLOVER going to take a quick, and I say quick, but
Yeah.
yeah, quick-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
1-0
was
in this.
a little late game-ish pace. They played a bunch of turn 10 turns.
Quick enough, quicker than most of the games we've watched.
Typical turns.
I like this.
But now it's going to fall onto the aggro forest. And this is kind of the second time today that we've seen this. We haven't seen it a lot because Reanimate Shadow took a few losses there. I'm interested to see this against several other matchups. Again, Daria is being let through.
Why is Daria not the first deck being played is my real question.
Time for me
You know what
to
I
prove
mean? Like,
myself.
why, if your opponent allows you to play Daria, get the win with it immediately.
Yeah.
Get that win out of the way.
Yeah.
Now you have to win with it and something else. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
It's dangerous because if there's a weaker matchup for your alternate lineup and you let your opponent sneak a win with it by not playing your Daria, then you're in trouble.
All right, let's see if DFCLOVER's Aggro Forestcraft deck is good enough to place him into the top 4 of the NA, again, soon to be PAM, Pan America Regionals.
Yeah, not only are we adding countries to the Pan American region, but also for Europe. A lot of Eastern Europe is going to be included. Russia kind of the biggest one there.
Russia, Eastern Europe, we got Latin America joining the fray for the Pan America.
Yeah, a lot of countries being added in and included, so people all over the world, make sure to check for your eligibility. See if you can be also a competitor.
That's right. Less on the sidelines, more active in this competitive play. Get on the road to $1 million. Of course, some regions have to, you know, they have a head start on them, but that's okay. Solid play will still get you there.
Yeah, preparation, planning,
The fire.
Ow!
the
My favorite.
fire,
You've got to have the fire, man. If you don't have the fire, you're never going to win.
the flames of competition.
That's right.
Is my flesh.
Here we see it again, the Sabelle.
A blessing.
Older generations used to call it the eye of the tiger. Now it's just the fire. This Sabelle, this game, is very good. This is before any burn spells from CRUMSION have come out. Yikes.
Yeah, that's tough. And Justin Ogler means that it's another turn of pumping.
Oh boy.
Wow, and you can even swing and reset the Sybil
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah. This is a pretty cool little setup. Very hard to deal with this board.
Yeah, the Sybil can actually swing into the Ogler and then bounce.
And then be replayed, yep.
Yep.
That will set up a good Leafman turn and or Hyperia turn.
The earth
Yeah.
is my flesh.
Yeah, these things are getting pretty beefy. Oh, man.
Yikes. That is a 1/4 goblin.
This goblin is living the dream.
Sabelle says, hey, Piercinger, what's up? What's up? Nice Mysterian missile you got there. What's up?
Everything is 4 defense and above.
Yikes. This is like pre-Daria. You know what I mean? This is like before Daria can even do anything Daria.
Yeah. Okay. Gonna get rid of one of the cards.
Yeah. To be fair, it's not like these followers are dealing a ton of damage,
Uh-huh.
but they are hard to deal with.
What a relief.
Oh, I like that pun. What a relief.
Okay, Leaf Man.
Yeah, all right.
I think you're smart.
I think you're smart. You take me out. What a relief. I'm a leaf man. See ya.
Okay. Leaves the Sybil up for another turn, and that means a bunch of other buff ups. What is the turn? I don't think it's Hyperia, is it?
I think that's the only play. I mean, honestly, you could go with the leaf men here and plug away for, what, 6? Actually, that's not bad. Then you can set up Hyperia and then win with it. However, you are facing down a lot of damage on the return attack here. And Hyperia takes time to set up, so maybe you do have to go with the Hyperia first.
Yeah, probably Hyperia. Evolve face.
Yep.
Leaf's
Or
gotta
leaf
do
man,
what
yeah.
Leaf's
It's
gotta
one of
do.
these two. This one does more damage now,
You're done for.
and it looks like he's going to play defensively with it.
Crispy and crunchy.
What did it say? Juicy and crunchy? Leaf man is crazy.
Crispy and
Oh,
crunchy.
crispy and crunchy.
Juicy and crunchy is an interesting mix.
It is an
of
interesting
textures.
mix. It is.
What is it that somebody recommended juicy and crunchy type of food?
Juicy and crunchy. I mean, they do exist. And like, for instance, Starburst is juicy. It's not necessarily crunchy, but you know, it also has a hard taffy type thing to it, so it can exist.
Is it like a fried tomato?
That could be. Yeah. Yeah.
That's the
like
closest
fried
I could
pickles.
think of,
Fried
yeah.
pickles are crispy and juicy.
Are pickles juicy?
Are you kidding me?
Oh yeah, pickles. Sorry, for some
you
reason I
eaten
thought
a
you said
pickle?
peppers. I was like, are peppers? Do you consider peppers juicy?
Peppers are also juicy. Yeah, fried chicken is crispy
Oh yeah,
and
okay.
juicy.
I guess once you start saying fried chicken, then I
Yeah.
just realize that I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
But it always comes back to that concentration.
That doesn't do what I think
Nope.
CRUMSION wanted it to do.
Yep.
What a relief.
It's the best voice line now that I've heard it. I've never heard that one before.
To dust once more.
Alright, so I think now Hyperia is the play, along with this
Slam it. Play the water fairy.
Water Fairy to actually finally get some value out of this Fairy Driver that's been sitting in hand for a few turns here.
Yeah.
It won't be long now.
Okay.
Armor weapons more.
Has wards, so that's not a good thing.
What?
CRUMSION is going to be able to use the Conjugalon.
What are you saying, man? The Golem Assault?
Golem Assault, yeah.
That gives you Conjured Guardians?
Yeah.
What are you saying?
I'm saying stuff
Stuff, man.
gets wards, and Hyperia becomes upset. You would think that Hyperia as a lizard could scale around, just kind of flank, you know?
To be fair, a big lizard as big as Hyperia that can hide themselves in regular like brush terrain should be able to outscale a ward. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Jump over it. Yeah,
Yeah.
climb the mountain
Do
behind
something.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I don't know, maybe it's a magical spell. Maybe that's what ward is. It's like something that forces you to like attack it. You know what I mean? Like it's you know, it calls you names that a bully would, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just like, hey, you punk. And you're just like really mad and then you want to
Hey,
punch
punk.
it. Yeah, hey punk.
That's what you would do. I don't think your spell is going to be very successful.
Hey man, I'm trying to keep it PG, okay?
Yeah.
思いっきりいくわ。
Hey, bub.
Alright, so pre-Evo on the ward here to set up to try to block that Hyperia damage.
There it is. And then the Chimera on top. It's going to be a full clear plus 6 damage. This is tough. This is difficult. There's not a lot of top end for this Forcecraft list either.
It's so close. If he had one more Fairy in hand, he could at least take out the ward and go wide here, but the Fairy Whisperer,
Yeah.
not going to do it. Felper Kitten has seemingly been a card that DFCLOVER has never been able to even play. Maybe kind of a misbuild with that card.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's any way to get out of this. You need to clear at least 2 of the followers on board. That means Hyperia must swing.
Lost.
Yep, has to tap. Has to tap, so it's 1-1 now. It's going to be Shadow versus Aggro Forest. And if it is any indication, DFCLOVER's deck must move fairly quickly. I think by turn 6 and turn 7, it should be kind of mostly cleanup.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes it tough to think about turns that are not Hyperia on 5, right?
I mean, honestly, Aggro Forcecraft at the moment doesn't really have a lot of options, right? Like, there are only so many things you can play if you want to be aggressive with the class. Beetle Warrior being one of those cards that DFCLOVER has chosen not to play. That is technically a 5-drop, right? You get to play 2 1-drops and then a 3-drop, and then activate it as a 5-drop, but not going with that plan. Also, we really haven't seen DFCLOVER run out the gates with any of these huge turns that we've known Aggro Force to be capable of with the Elf Songs and, you know, the super, super hyper-aggressive starts, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's non-existent so far for DFCLOVER, which I'm sure he feels. Does get a couple Fetas to start this game with, though, so might potentially get some card draw advantage going here.
I'm just a little withered.
A little withered.
It's another leaf pun.
Is that saying wizard with a lisp?
No,
Is that withered?
I think it's withered. Withered is right, yeah, because the leaves get withered.
Mm-hmm.
Unless he thinks himself a wizard. I don't think he does.
I'm just a little withered.
If he was a wizard, he like usually wizards like to live forever, and he's like relieved when he dies. Maybe wizards feel that way too. I don't know. When they get too old,
Yeah.
just been around forever, they're just like finally.
Rest.
Yeah, time to rest.
Immortality is not what it seems to be, Exo. Did you know that?
I mean, that's
I
what
learned
that's
that
what all the
lesson the hard
stories
way.
tell us is that living forever is bad for you. But I don't agree. I don't know if I agree with that.
I'm here to tell you from a first-person perspective.
Oh yeah, is that right? Are you a vampire or something?
DFCLOVER is. His room getting darker and darker as this tournament goes on.
To be fair, he does like his room dark.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know
It
what? That's
reminds
okay.
me of the
Less
state of my
distractions.
social life.
Okay. All right. We're in the finals, Rainy. Okay. Good energy, positive vibes.
Lyriel trades in
What
some.
a relief.
No, I had to listen to the pun.
Yeah.
Lyriel trades in.
Still-
And this is some of the things that we were seeing with Fita, right? I think that was doing really well for DFCLOVER in the match against SkySama.
Let's play.
Have yet to see him be able to kind of make any progress off of it. And that seemed to give him the card draw that he needed, that he was lacking, I feel like, in, these,
Right.
in this last.
Well, that's the big thing. We just haven't seen DFCLOVER actually be able to maximize any of his cards yet. Like, he hasn't gotten good value out of his Felper Kitten. He's keeping these Fitas, but hasn't drawn anything that can actually buff the Fitas yet. Has these fairy drivers, but isn't generating enough fairies, you know what I mean? Like, everything's just kind of working in the wrong way for him here.
Not good. But Bramble's down will help.
Yeah, for a little bit here.
Ooh.
There we go. There's some Gasolina. Get that Wood of Brambles back. Use that to kind of meet out the mid game here. Of course, CRUMSION not getting a lot of card draw either. So this Wood of Brambles doing a lot of work. I think you just set it up next turn, actually. I think you just throw one of your Fitas away with a fairy here. And then you set up or install the Wood of Brambles next turn.
It is an evolution turn. It's not really anything big to evolve, though.
Yeah. DFCLOVER just trying to figure out any way he can keep himself ahead this game.
Yeah, definitely needs that. I mean, this is an important match. It's elimination. One moves on and one falls to the wayside.
Yep.
You're done for.
This is the most important match of either of these players' careers so far.
Sparkly.
So they're going to take their time. More power to them.
Bones embrace me.
Evolves the fairy, puts 2 followers with a 2 defense line here. That's very nice. Still no draw.
Yep, still kind of just chilling. Does have a Lyriel, though. Lyriel always great.
My boss works us to the bone.
Which is going to make DFCLOVER's draw even that much more hard to handle here. Without being ever able to just stabilize. Can't really get a lot of value out of anything.
Sorry.
Crazy to me to think that the regular forest decks have been able to keep these boards a lot cleaner than the aggro forest deck that plays a lot more cheap cards. It's just interesting the way the cards have been drawn.
Yeah,
Mostly because Fairy Driver just doesn't do anything, at least in most of these hands.
that seems to be the biggest point of weakness here so far. Fairy Driver is definitely a late game card, right? You don't really play it on curve and then have a bunch of fairies that are in hands. It just doesn't survive that way.
Yeah, in my mind, the biggest weakness to aggro forest craft in the first place is if you don't get your opponent to like sub 10 within the first 5 turns, your draw was pretty bad, and it's really hard to come back from that because you don't have these big, you know, back-breaking plays in forest craft.
Will you be good to me?
But if DFCLOVER can manage to win this game, you can color me impressed.
Color Exo impressed.
I mean, he does have more cards right now. It's just the options that both players will be drawing into, I feel like, favors Shadow.
Yeah, we talked about it. I mean, I think that's also happened in the last game, right? There was just not enough weight behind DFCLOVER's cards. Even Skeleton Prince is a little bit tough to deal with, especially when you don't have the advantage of threatening lethal.
I was just getting bored.
This means Lyriel's coming into the other fairy here. CRUMSION just playing the super defensive game here, which he should. Oh, God.
Man.
Felper Kitten, man. It's going to get some value this turn, I suppose.
Great.
Make yourself useful.
One day I'll be a big cat.
There it is. Gets a bunch of stats.
Oh, sir, become a skeleton.
Probably needs to use this evolve, too.
This
Yep.
ends here.
Feels bad, but there's not much
Pretty
left to do
bold
here.
For a bunch of bugs.
Remember, the skeletons are shut off, right? What is the top deck option?
Decides not to go for the 3 power
To
here.
the bone.
Okay. Okay. This
Pretty
could
good.
pay off.
Pretty good with the Lurching Corpse here. Honestly speaking, CRUMSION could just play the Aisha to clear the entire board if he wanted to. And then just play the Lurching Corpse for more aggro for the next turn.
Yeah. Yeah, with so many followers on board, that might be a really good choice.
Push 4 damage, clear board, set up for a bigger board next turn. Nothing wrong with it. Could also just Lurching Corpse into Demon Eater, hope to win the split. Even if he doesn't, I don't think he's worried too much. Thinking about this one though, I'd probably go with the Aisha. It's the safest play.
It's guaranteed, and you save that hard removal for something. I mean, I guess the Evolution Orb is the biggest that something he ever gets in this matchup.
I really like finding really opportune times not to waste any resources, and this is at 9 shadows, so you don't have to use up the 10 shadows. Oh,
Yeah.
actually, that's right. Without the 10 shadows, you actually don't get the double attack, so it just clears the biggest follower.
And the other thing about the Demon Eater plays, you do draw a lot of cards, so you draw a bunch.
But that option's not going away. You're not losing your board anytime soon.
You buzzing, flitting insects.
All right,
Okay,
top deck
that's-
wars.
Yep.
A blessing.
With Cybo. Oh,
That
man.
was pretty decent. If we're talking about some top deck wars.
Yeah, that's going to really help. Add removal. I mean, it's a little uncomfortable.
Meow.
Nothing just straight up falls from the zombie party.
Food should act like food.
Interesting. Doesn't go with the full value zombie party this turn. Wins that flip. And it has more card draw to boot.
Yeah. I would just keep drawing.
Food should act like food.
Yeah, just basically just let the Forestcraft player get buried under the weight of card advantage. That's really it. I don't know what DFCLOVER can actually even draw here to make him come back into this game. There's no late game cards in his deck.
I'm stuck.
There's the last Demon Eater and all the card draws coming out. Now, DFCLOVER out of gas. Another Fairy Driver. It really hurts.
He doesn't play enough Fairy Generation is what it feels like. At least, I mean, it doesn't feel that way. Like, maybe he needed to add Fire Sprite Groves instead of the, you know, the Felper Kittens and things like that just to get more of an engine rocking.
Yeah. I mean, it could really change the game, right? Over the course of these Fairy Drivers, he could have been chipping away damage.
Not only that, but just more fairies means more board control with the Wood of Brambles when he had it.
And now I think there's just not enough gas.
No gas. Yep, this is when you're rolling around in the destitute post-apocalyptic world. You've been siphoning gas for a week. You're almost to the next town, and then you start puttering out. And you're like, oh crap, I have no friends, and the rest of the world is gone. What do I do?
It's just desert.
It's just desert for miles. Yeah.
Deadness and nothing.
A blessing.
Okay. One more turn.
Well, that was a pretty good draw.
3 plus 6.
I think you just play super safe here. You get DFCLOVER down to 10. You have the win set up for next turn.
Yep. Still has the shadows from the Aisha. Puts DFCLOVER well below the Aisha range. Still at 19 health himself.
That's going to do it.
Yep. And that's it. Aggro Force could not make it happen. And I think, yeah, there might be a few optimizations here and there that the deck can have to make it a little more effective against what it's gotten. Had a great opening to the day, but DFCLOVER ends up taking a loss.
That's right, and honestly, that's okay. DFCLOVER showed up this season, spiked a Take-Two tournament, decided that, you know what, I'm going to give it a try.
Yeah.
And didn't do bad for himself.
Yeah, I thought he went very far. Was able to take a win, you know, and then just tried his best and couldn't make it happen. But that means that for the next